So it's another day at SotaSoDak. We've got Johan Tanem with us, and Johan is a millwright. You're on the executive board of the union.
Yeah,
trustee. And then trustee. We're both trustees, and so we're one of the signatures for the union for when we spend money, and so we have a fiduciary responsibility. One of the things that we've talked about a lot with this is governance, and talking about that we need to be able to associate with good people. We need to be, we want to be helping everybody. We want to be able to spread the gospel. And I think part of that is like there's this concept of where two or three are gathered, God is there. And with Johan, when I joined the union, because I joined the union pretty late in life, Johan was always like really kind. And like when I needed a place to stay in St. Paul, or else helping me out with tools, helping me out with ideas, being somebody that could be a resource to be able to work with. And so I'm tremendously grateful.
No problem, dude.
For your presence, because it's like we set this example of what we do. What we do, how we say, how we treat each other is something that really speaks about our faith. And Johan, I think you, of anybody I know, probably are like the most supportive, like just kind, like, and it's like in a very subtle way, man. Like you're not like out there, but it's just like you're constantly kind. And I was thinking, I'd love to hear from you a bit about your story, because I know in the last year and a half, 2 years, there have been some challenges you've been through, which is a nice way of saying it.
Yeah.
But pretty major challenges, and then just talking about faith and sort of life and what you do, man. We'd love to hear from you.
So February 2nd last year, woke up. I thought I pulled muscles at work. Like, don't worry about it. Not getting better after a few days. I'm getting nauseous. Turns out my appendix exploded. I drove myself into the doctor, went and got it checked out, and they're talking to me, and but it was unique in that forgot the technical term, but the body kind of encapsulated where it was leaking, so it wasn't spreading. So they said, hey, we can go in and do surgery now, or we can, and we don't know how it's going to go, or we can put a drain in you, and we're going to keep you here for a few days, maybe a week. We'll send you home. You'll be home for like 2-3 weeks. We'll pull the drain out of you after everything's drained out, of course, and then we will schedule to have your appendix removed. It's still getting removed, but they can do it, I believe, laparoscopically is the term, and it'd just be a couple. I'm like, let's do that. You're telling me it's a little bit more time consuming, but less. So I did that, hung out there for a week, watched the Super Bowl with my dad that was my last day there. We're being real cautious about everything. I got home, I was home for a few days, and it was like, I was okay, and then this one day there's like one position I could be in and not be uncomfortable, and I couldn't sleep. So back to the hospital. And I was, I'm sitting there, and I got sit in that waiting room, just like, they see me, and then they're very apologetic. I had excellent staff there at this hospital, Woodwinds and Woodbury. They were excellent to me. They were great people. So anyway, they were very apologetic that they couldn't get me into a room. They had already x-rayed me and all this. And anyway, I go in, and the lady comes out, and the hospitalist, I think is her term. She comes out, and she's like, well, it looks like your intestine collapsed in like 2 spots. We're gonna have to keep you again for a few days, but this is all kind of okay. Then they came back like real quick. They're like, oh no, this burst is out of control. We need you in surgery as soon as possible. And as soon as possible is like 6 to 8 hours. They had to get everyone lined up, and it wasn't necessarily life-threatening immediately. But so I had went in, and during surgery, Gary called. My mom had my phone, so he had to have a chat with her and said some very nice things, I guess. And I came out, and I then proceeded to spend about 2 more weeks in the hospital. Overall, in February, I spent 23 days in the hospital. Because from here to here, it's cut wide open. I was on this, I forget the technical term, but it's a vacuum bandage. And you got this purse you carry around with this pump in it that pulls it together, pulls all the juices off, pulls it together, so it helps it heal faster. And I healed quicker than they anticipated. Had lots of good visitors, lots of people. I had people praying for me from Wisconsin through the Minnesota to the Dakotas, probably elsewhere too that I'm not aware of. Had a lot of people checking in. Gary, my buddy Eric, Chia, cousin Andrea. There's a whole bunch of people. My parents were there all the time. I had tons of company. And this is a weird thing too. I'd get company right, it was hard to sleep. And I'd just be like, all right, fall asleep. Oh, hey, Steve, you showed up. That's the way it went almost every time. It's like, and I was so grateful to see someone there. I couldn't I'm going to sleep. I couldn't tell them, get out of here. It's like, but I had great nurses there. There was this one guy named Dennis. He was like a coach. He's probably the best of all of them, but they were all really good. There's this one, she was from Brazil. Her name was Barbie. I can't remember all their names. I wish I could list more of their names, but I couldn't sleep at night. She'd take me for walks, I was like their puppy. They didn't have something to do for like a student nurse or a nursing aide. They're like, go take Johan for a walk. I'd go with my walker, but Barbie, she made me walk to like every corner, so I got the most miles out of that stuff. And she'd make me walk around, and we'd BS and all that. And then, I got to go home, and it was still like a month before I could do anything because I had that stuff on me. So I was out of work for a while. I was going bonkers, and I was tired a lot. But then towards the end, I was goofy, chipper. I couldn't do enough. And then after going back to work, there's one day I can remember I was so tired. Like, I didn't work. It wasn't really a bad day. It was kind of hot, but nothing out of the ordinary. It was so hot, and I was greasy from here to here. My pants. I threw an old blanket on my couch. I couldn't even take a shower. It was all I could do to get in the house. I slept for like 45 minutes. But man, I was grateful. I turned out better. I mean, there's a lot of people. I'm not saying I'm back at 100% than what I was before, but it could be way worse. I kind of got to watch what I eat, when I eat. But no, there's a lot of people looking out, checking in. I mean, if you're ever got a friend, anyone you're even halfway acquaintance with, but positive attitude with, and they're in the hospital, hey, shoot them a call, shoot them a text message, stop in and visit if you can. And then the other thing, you benefited from this, but my mom, she normally watches what she eats, but she was just like, I guess probably stress eating like these monster cookies when I was in the hospital. I said, Ma, anyone that comes to visit or checks in on me or sends me cards, I'm going to make them monster cookies when I get out. She never really brought it up or anything, but it's when I had, about a week after I had that vacuum bandage off, I started making cookies. I probably made like 2,000 of these cookies. I got some buddies now, they called or checked in or came to visit, and they're kind of some heavy-duty biker guys, real tough guys, and now every once in a while they're like, hey, you're making more than cookies? So you got this really tough guy, and he's like, come on, bud, got any more of them? So yeah, I mean, it was a tough thing. And then here's the thing too, that added another challenge unrelated to that. So the first job I get in on, the guys at Horowitz I knew were real good at putting me on and helping me ease in, and I'm on this maintenance gig. Well, they decided they wanted a different contractor. Fine, whatever. They ran us off, a little rude, but when they tell us they don't need us there, I'm pushing my tools out. And I'm like, my car was right there. Oh my gosh, what happened? My car was stolen. So then I had to call my buddy Jeff to come pick me and my tools up to get out of there. So I mean, it was a really weird having the car stolen too. That's a whole different story, but it was just another weird challenge. But it's not that big a deal. I'd rather deal with that than being in the hospital. And I had a pickup I could go drive. It's small potatoes to deal with having a car stolen. But I mean, like I said, like if you guys ever know someone, shoot them a text, shoot them a call once in a while, spread the word. Maybe you want to get their permission first. If someone's sick, they might not want people to know for their own reasons or something, but be like, hey, you mind if I tell everyone? Or is there anyone you don't want me to tell, or you want me to tell for sure? Because I kind of dropped the ball with Gary when I went in. I thought he was in class. I let Gavin know. I thought Gavin was distributing the information. He found out in a roundabout way from someone else. I thought he was in class that week, so I kind of dropped the ball there. But yeah, I had a lot of people coming out of the woodwork I hadn't seen in a while come and visit. It was tough, but it was a good experience. Got to learn how well our insurance works. You raising your hand?
Just asking if I could go with the rest.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But yeah, it was. I'm in good shape now, or as good a shape as I can be, I guess. And My buddy Dan and Lisa, they were super helpful. After my parents, they helped me the most. His wife's a physical therapist, so after I had the bandages and stuff off, I was going over there and doing little workouts and stuff. And then their youngest boy was like, she's having me do these like little 5-pound dumbbell things. And their youngest boy's like, come on, he can do that with his pinky, Mom. Give him some more. But I'm not going to challenge what a physical therapist says. But I was being heckled by like an 11-year-old while I was doing my workouts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could talk about the power of prayer, because I remember when you had the vacuum bandage on.
Yeah.
And I, like, my heart went out to you because it was just, it's like when you see the dog with the cone of shame.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it was like such a tough thing. But they were saying how long you were going to be on the vacuum bandage.
Yeah, it was probably it was about half. It was a little less than half the time. And Pastor Gordy, who you met, he was there. He was spreading the word. Gary. I mean, I had so many people looking out for me, praying for me, or even if they aren't of any faith, you know, just looking out and stuff. And I was following what the doctors. The doctors put me on a diet where I got to eat. They're like, oh, you have to eat a lot of protein, like eggs and meat and cheese and milk. I'm like, oh, okay, perfect. So, I mean, I was trying to put down, like, making sure doing my best to put like 120 grams of protein a day, which was a little difficult at times, but yeah, that healed up fast. Yeah, it was just, I had a lot of good people, a lot of good friends, people I hadn't talked to in a while that were really reaching out. It all helped. I appreciated it. And like, really, having people check in is great. I can't, like, if you guys are ever in a situation where you know someone, try and check in with them, ask them how they want you to spread the word, you know. It helps. I mean, like I said, some people don't want it, but I appreciated it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was curious. I mean, we talked about. I know you and I have talked about it, but for this group, I'd be really curious about your path to become a millwright, because I know, like, when you were in high school, you had some ideas about what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then thinking about how, you know, sort of what the career means to you, what the union means to you, sort of what all that looks like.
So, when I was graduating high school, I was hoping to join the service or whatever, but I'm very colorblind and was limited in what I could do, and didn't seem like it'd benefit me nor my country to go that route. So, I always wanted to be a machinist too. And I mean, millwright was kind of in there. I did a bunch of different stuff. I had a short stint many short stints as like remodeler, diesel mechanic. All that stuff was kind of interesting. I liked doing the machining, and my first job as a machinist was we did on-site machining. So I was working with these trades. We weren't union. The millwrights, shortly before I started at this company, tried organizing them, tried making them union. To keep the story short, it just didn't go through. So we're working with union trades, and they're all making at least $10 an hour more than me, and they can't do their job unless I do mine. I'm like, there's something wrong here. And I didn't last too long there. I just didn't work out, and I worked at a couple other shops, and I was trying to get in several different trades. I always thought the millwrights would be the best, but my ear to the ground at the time might be more difficult getting work as a millwright. So I tried other trades, but they just couldn't put me to work. So I tried the millwrights. It just wasn't working out. There's some miscommunication, not cooperation. So my buddy DJ, I'm at his bachelor party, I'm talking about this, and his brother's like, you know, Dad's a retired millwright. Go talk to him. So I talked to him, and he's like, all right, next week call me. I'll go bring you down and introduce you to the guys. He went and he introduced me to the instructor, and we bypassed a bunch of stuff that was roadblocking me. I told him, and actually when I was a field machinist, I worked with this instructor on a project. He remembered me a little bit. So he went and made arrangements for me to take the test. I got in 2008. Work was pretty tough. It took me 6 months to get a job, but I was able to, still working as a machinist, was able to get on APM at Monticello Nuke. They paid you journeyman scale. So it really helped me make the right decision. And Mr. Terry Jennings, that was the superintendent there, I told him this the last time I worked with him. I said, you guys made arrangements to pay all the apprentices journeyman scale. I really appreciate that, still do. So whoever makes those decisions, please trickle them up in APM to whoever did that. Tell them thank you for me. But that helped me make sure I made the right decision. I mean, I worked 500 hours, made a big stack of cash. It was a good experience. Work was kind of hit or miss for the next 2 years, but since about 2011, everything's been good. It's not saying there hasn't been times where there's been issues. There's not everyone I get along with. Some jobs just don't work out or whatever, but overall it's been good. I mean, the one thing I really like is, like, as an apprentice, when they said, you do this, you put in this many hours, you turn in your hours, you get a raise. And it pretty much always worked that way. Sometimes there's a little hiccup, but you always ended up with your raise. Maybe a miscommunication with the contractor or something, maybe you turned them in a little, there's always little things. But give it a week or two, you're getting your raise. That was wonderful. I really appreciated that. And I mean, we can talk about what needs to be worked on, but there's a lot of really good stuff like that. And I had to find out the hard way how great our insurance was. I was just babbling about that for a while. We have really good insurance. I know some people have problems dealing with people in the office. I didn't. They were pretty helpful. It's overall been a pretty positive experience for me. I mean, that's not to say I don't get grumpy with it from time to time, but overall it's been pretty good. It's a pretty good avenue. I mean, having the machinist backgrounds helped me out. Understanding some of it in general mechanical background. Sometimes I've been employed as a machinist, doing a millwright, doing machinist work, if that makes sense to you. I really always enjoy that. It's been a good experience. I don't know what else to say about that.
I was curious because like machining is something that I wasn't familiar with. And I don't know, is anybody here familiar with machining? Joshua is. Can you explain a little bit about like what an in-house machinist would do, a field machinist, and then what a millwright would do?
Okay, so machinist, you can do a bunch of different stuff. Like the last machinist shop job I worked at, we were just doing production. I was making pacemaker parts where you could take like 500 parts that you made and they'd all fit in your hand. You had to inspect them under a microscope. But you could be doing, you could be doing camshafts for engines. You could be doing all sorts of different things doing production. And that's about the most boring and tedious. But you can do like most facilities we work in have a machine shop, and those in-house guys will do repairs or make a part to accommodate what you need to do. They might not stay there forever, but they might not have a part in stock or be able to order one in time, so they make do with what they can make in-house or modify something. And repair shops are kind of along the same way, or you might bring something that's worn out, they might bore it, re-sleeve it, bring it all back into spec. Field machining, like if you're working on a piece of equipment like a tractor, you guys know what an articulating loader is? You guys know what a loader is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you know all those pins in there? You know, they don't get greased. Even if you grease them right, sooner or later they're going to wear out, and the bushings they're in, the bosses, they all start wearing out. So a field machinist, one of their many tasks is you could go line that all up, get it all lined up, set up like a line boring. After that gets worn out, they get egg shaped. Go make them true again, make bushings or new pins to accommodate the larger size, and go on with your day. I mean, the big outfit like Ziegler, Caterpillar, they might have a certain procedure for repairing this where they understand that these always wear out in a certain way, bore it out, and you bore it to the size and they already have pins pre-made. It's always kind of different. On larger stuff like industrial stuff like turbines and stuff, they're drilling out broken bolts on site that are larger, difficult for millwrights to accommodate. There could be milling down pump bases. I cut and beveled a lot of pipe for fitters and tubing for Boilermakers. That's almost not really machining, but I did get paid a lot of money, or did a lot of time doing that. And then like as a millwright, when I've done machining, it's been a couple different times. One time the shop just needed someone to fill in because their in-house machinist got hurt. He needed someone to come help him. They had help him out until he got better. I was on a project where we were doing a retrofit, and the parts were all made oversized, so they would take measurements, bring them down to me, I'd machine them to size, we'd put them in. That's like one of my favorite jobs I'd ever done. I got treated real well on that job. It was real challenging, real interesting. But where I was working, it was kind of climate controlled versus a turbine deck, was a lot warmer. So I was a little bit more comfortable. My sweat was from nervousness, not from the heat. Then they had, and then sometimes I've been working and I just use their, I've been in a facility where they got their own machine shop and we need to make something on their fly and they don't have a guy that can do it, so they let me do it sometimes. And that's kind of been my experience of actual machining as a millwright. But also when I first got in, knowing how to use all the precision measuring tools, there are many times where I got more interesting or better work because I knew how to use this stuff. And so it was a good skill set to have coming in. I didn't quite understand everything, but that kind of allowed me to put myself in a good position a couple times.
So, how'd you learn the machining?
I started off in high school. I had Chuck Mortel. He was my high school teacher. Excellent guy, man. Everyone would benefit from a guy like him. He was wasn't he was kind of a caricature almost of a shop teacher that you'd expect. Great guy. He worked in the union trades during the summer. Anyway, to had him for automotive, then I had him for metalworking. I kind of wanted to do the welding, but I got to run a mill and a lathe. I was like, this is great. This is so cool. And then after I was out of high school for a year or two, I went to St. Paul Tech, learned tool and die. Started off doing manual machining, went through CNC, and then we did tool and die stuff, which is like building molds to, like injection molds for like different cars are the easiest thing to equate this to, or use for examples, like different dash components. You'd make molds for that, or the stamping side of it. We made dies that stamped out washers and special keychains, and like again for car, going back to automotive, stamping out a body panel, car panels. Went through that, had several good teachers there. Dick Wold, though, he stood out head and above. He was a really sharp dude. He had a lot of education for machining as well as being a teacher. So, yeah.
What recommendations would you have? I mean, what would you be looking at if you were a young person now, thinking about careers?
I always recommend, well, if you're working with your hands, I mean, I can't recommend anything. Like, it'd be hard for me to recommend anything if you're going to want to go be an accountant or something. I got no background in that. I hate doing my taxes. But, or along the medical profession, they're all honorable careers, but I got no. But if you're talking about working with your hands, I'd recommend everyone going to school, getting some welding. I took night classes for welding. I took some night classes for boiler operation. A lot of different things you can do, but I'd recommend everyone getting some welding just so they're familiar with it under their belt. Because if you're doing anything with your hands, sooner or later something made out of metal is going to break, and you don't have to be a great welder. You just got to put it back together. And a lot of stuff is maybe just temporary welds too. And the better you are, the better everything is. But like I said, you don't always have to be the greatest at it just to be handy. And then, I don't know, pick something you're really interested in. Cabinet making, whatever, try that out, try a bunch of things out. And while you're going to school for that, I know what worked for me is I worked at a fence company where I was exposed to a bunch of different fabrication and installation stuff and different equipment. So that benefited me throughout all my, as a millwright, as a machinist, doing different layout. It exposed me to all that stuff, so it wasn't like a shock having to go up and use like an ironworker punch press, or I've even had to build a fence once or twice on a job because I opened my yap saying I knew how to do it. And sometimes it's kind of fun, and sometimes it's like, oh, what did I do to myself here? But so I guess when you're going to school for something, maybe go get a job someplace where you're getting exposed to something you might not be working for. Like you're going to school to be a welder, maybe go work in a cabinet shop, because there's certain techniques and stuff in there that are still going to apply. And you're probably going to live in a house at some point, so knowing how to work with wood and all that, or maybe install your own cabinets, could be beneficial to you. So, I mean, that's just, I don't know what else to say on that. I wasn't really prepared for this, so excuse my word salad here, guys.
You did a great job. I was curious, I mean, Gary, 'cause you're going to Wyoming Tech, right? Coming up in the fall. So talk to us about what your goals are with that, and I'd be curious, because you're going to welding school, right?
Automotive technology.
Automotive technology, excellent. And what's your goal with that?
Go there, get done with college, come home and start my own shop.
That'd be awesome. It's a good goal.
Yeah.
Mr. Gary, I gotta get
Yeah, of course, man.
I probably gotta head out too,
Yeah,
because
of
I
course.
gotta go to Watertown, but
It's good to see you. Have a great day.
you too.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah. See you, everybody.
See you.
Yeah.
It's good seeing you.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thanks for being here. So have you had friends that have gone through automotive programs?
Yeah, I got one friend I don't keep in contact with him at Horn, but he started his own shop. He just worked learning it, started off at a dealership when we were in high school, detailing cars, and he was always wrenching on his own stuff, he had a farm where he had all sorts of cool projects going on. I was kind of envious of him in high school, and he's always real handy with a lot of the automotive stuff, and now he's got his own shop going. And as far as I know, the little bit when I get a chance to talk to him or whatever, it sounds like everything's pretty successful for him.
Good.
Does he
Anybody?
work on dents?
He has. I don't know if he does that at his shop so much.
Ah.
Is that what you want to do?
No, I want more engines, but
Okay.
2 weeks ago I hit a deer with my dad.
Oh, okay. The older vehicle?
Yeah.
You can always just take little sections of other, what do you call them?
Fenders.
Family?
Career paths or whatever. You know, you can just take, I want 1 semester extra of auto body. Just get enough to accomplish what you want in your personal life, and then,
It's only 9 months of automotive, so I can go back for another 9 months in auto body.
and you don't even have to do the full course. Like I did PSEO in high school, and I only took 1 semester of, you know, you just pay the lump
What?
sum or whatever, and
You could get a job in an auto body shop while you're going for.
Yeah, good.
I think a lot of times they bill it on the hour and then you get it done and you make money off of how quick you can get the job done for auto body,
yeah.
at least for some of the ones I know. But yeah. Other questions?
Mm-mm.
Awesome. Good.
If you were gonna start machining, what piece of equipment would you start on?
Kind of both mill and lathe.
Mill and lathe, okay.
Yeah, kind of you need stuff to make square parts and you need stuff to make round parts. So it's kind of hard just to say one or the other, but if you got those two, you can get a lot done.
Okay, cool.
There's a lot of stuff that complements them, but
Yeah,
and you don't. If you got a mill, you don't necessarily need a drill press.
yeah, okay.
So
Yep. Good. Johan, thank you very much for being
You're
here.
welcome.
I appreciate it, man.
yeah, it's
You
kind
made
of
a
last
big
minute
difference in my
today.
life, but yeah, I'm glad you're healthy with the appendicitis.
Oh yeah, me too.
It's awesome having you here.
Yeah, like the first day of summer hit, my brother had to go to the hospital because of the appendicitis, which they just got in time. They removed it. He couldn't do football list for a little bit, but he never originally does that, so he didn't really care. But now I believe football practice has started, and now he's a part of it, so.
Good. It's scary because people die from it. I mean, it's not.
week this week?
Yep.
Josh, are you okay?
pretty much. Other questions?